Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be local plant store shopping at North Haven Gardens in Dallas, Texas. This is one of the older plant nurseries out in Dallas, Texas, and it's one of the ones that have so many varieties of plants. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That is the fastest way to get in contact with me directly. You can send me some direct messages and I do reply. But anyways, we are out at the North Haven Gardens. This is one of the renowned gardens out in Dallas, Texas. It's one that I like to go also shop at. They sometimes have plant pop-up shops that pop up on this actual nursery, and so we're going to just take a look and see what kind of plants that they have today. I will be taking a look at some of the indoor tropical greenhouse, as well as looking at some of the outdoor plants that I may try to grow indoors. So right off the bat, we're going to be taking a look at this. We have a beautiful cordyline Hawaiian tea plant on the very right here, and then I actually thought about getting these copper leaf plants, but we're going to take a closer look at that. Let's take a look at this cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. As always with cordyline Hawaiian tea plant, it is a plant that needs to be grown outdoors. When growing indoors, they are a little bit more susceptible to spider mites. And then we have a copper leaf plant. This is really a plant that needs to be growing outdoors, but I've been doing a lot of research and it looks like a lot of people will also grow these as indoors. This becomes more of like a variegated shrub. This prefers to be in more bright indirect light, although some people say it can take full sun. My plant foldies, and for those that are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Let me know in the comments section if you've ever grown a copper leaf plant. This is definitely one that I will be taking today, and it looks like they have another variety of copper leaf plant right here. I think that is the Louisiana red, but look at how beautiful the variegation is on this plant. And what I like about this plant is also easy to propagate from cuttings. You already know I've been talking about trying to get free plants, and the best way to do that is through plant propagation. If you are ever part of like a plant community where they do plant swaps or even plant cutting trades, things like that, that's one way to save money on plants. It's the thing where whenever we go plant shopping, we want to buy all of these plants, but when you look at the bill, it adds up. And trust me doing plant shopping videos daily, 1 hour plant shopping videos, I am always exposed to so many beautiful plants. I'm surprised that I have not gone 100% broke, considering I am always looking at beautiful plants. Like, look at this right over here. This is another beautiful variegated copper leaf plant. I'm glad that I actually ran into these because I was actually browsing eBay and I saw some of these plants here, and I thought about buying them online. The thing about buying things online though is there is that risk that the plant may not make it to your home safely. So I'm glad that local plant nurseries like North Haven Gardens has quite a bit of a selection of plants. So I haven't made it to the greenhouse yet, but you can see right here we've got another banana plant. Now banana plants definitely need full sun in order for them to really do well. That is a plant that is really endemic to my home country, which is the Philippines. Again, I'm a proud Filipino, and I sometimes will give you some cultural references just because I want to share my culture as well on this plant channel. And then over here, we've got a cordyline kiwi plant. Love the stripes and just the different colors of this cordyline tea plant. This is a kiwi version. And again, if you give cordyline, like I'm actually growing my cordyline in full sun and it is thriving. It's giving me a lot of beautiful variegation. And over here, we've got some New Guinea impatiens as well as some coleus plants. So you already know, if you've been watching my videos and you are a certified plant foldie, I have developed an obsession for coleus plants. Some people might find their colors jarring. Some people will not be interested in them because they're really more of an annual outdoor plant, but I do intend to grow them indoors. I love the different variegations and just different colors, shapes, sizes. Like, look at this one. This is a neon coleus plant right here. Coleus plants, again, are easy to take care of. They are very easy to propagate. I would say they are the easiest plant to propagate just from cuttings. You can take even just the smallest cutting, stick it in soil, and it will root. The only thing about coleus plants is they are very thirsty plants. You have to make sure to water them on a daily basis. You do not ever want their soil to dry out completely. And over here, we've got some, I believe these are mandevilla flowers, and then we also have some plumeria right over here. Now with plumerias Plumerias are a tropical plant and it has some beautiful blooms. The thing about plumerias is you have to give them full sun as well. They really like that sun. And then we've got some bougainvilleas right over here as well. We've got different colors of bougainvillea, and that's the thing I like about bougainvillea is they do come in different colors, but oftentimes you will not see like the yellow versions of these flowers. I love bougainvillea. They would make great bonsai. This is only for $29.99 in a hanging basket. That's a pretty good price. Actually, it's within the range of most bougainvilleas that are being sold, but we're going to go ahead and walk over to the tropical greenhouse right over here. And over here, we've got a wide range of different types of planters and pottery. I will have to save that for another trip out to North Haven Gardens. And you can see right here, they've got some type of plant Dallas pop up. This is by Echeveria, so that would be interesting. I may try to make it to there. It depends on whether I am off. Again, I have a pretty demanding job, so just balancing YouTube and just making my schedules align is a little bit of a challenge. But you can see here, this is the indoor tropical greenhouse. So we're going to actually take a lot of time today to take a look at all of the varieties of plants that they have. As always, if you haven't already, please make sure you are hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell on. I know that there's a couple of people that have been watching my videos daily. Really appreciate it, but have realized that you're not subscribed. Please definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. I am hoping to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month, just to see if we can continue to grow this. And you know, if you are subscribed to the channel, you'll be always in tune with when I do live premieres for the videos. Typically, I do them at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with a live chat as well. And then you can see here, variegated strawberry begonias. These are for $4.99 for starter planters. I actually have this starter. I ended up buying it though at Callaway's Nursery because they were selling it for $2.99. But if you want a variegated strawberry begonia, you can go to like a plant nursery like this. I love the strawberry begonia. Even the green version is beautiful, but the variegated version is fire. I mean, it really has beautiful pink and cream variegation. It is an easy to care for plant. It is a plant that will grow pretty quickly, and it will produce little babies for you to propagate from. But you can see several strawberry begonia starters right there. These are also at the bottom some polka dot plants. So like, I like polka dot plants, but I'm really confused of whether they are really a plant that just needs to be grown outdoors. I haven't had the best luck with polka dot plants, although I will say the bottom of that drainage hole has a lot of roots already popping, which means that that plant is actually really happy. And then you can see on the left side is just a regular strawberry begonia, the non-variegated form. You can see that they've got a little terrarium set up there as an example of what you can do with these plants. And then again, these strawberry begonias, you often see them by Costa Farms in hanging baskets. I love them just because they produce little babies that you can propagate from. And that's the thing about certain plants. You know, I talk about plants that I have a certain criteria of what plants I gravitate to. Typically, it's plants that can tolerate lower light conditions, are vigorous growers, have some really good coloration on their leaves, and are easy to propagate. If they have some of those qualities, I will definitely gravitate to them. But you can see here, strawberry begonias and then plant foldies. Let me know if you're actually growing strawberry begonias. Look at how it's already pushing out some little babies just from that juvenile form. And then you can see they've got a little offshoot that is about to shoot out another baby. So really cool looking strawberry begonia. It is one of the plants that has some beautiful foliage, and it's got some pretty stable variegation. Now, I would say with any variegated plant, you want to try to give it a lot of bright indirect light for it to really hold the variegation. And then we've got a bunch of assorted like terrarium type plants. I don't know the plant IDs for some of these, so you'll have to bear with me. Now this one right here is a Polynesian ivy, and no, it is not a Hydra helix or a Hedera helix English ivy. This is just a Polynesian ivy, which is really not even in the same genus as Hedera. And then over here, we've got some type of croton. This is just a little small croton. And look at that. The roots are just popping out of its drainage hole. So that's really interesting. And with North Haven Gardens, I just love going here because they do have quite a bit of plants to choose from. I would say their pricing can be a little bit pricey, if I'm being completely honest, but you know, the quality of plants, the diversity of plants that they have, I can stomach paying just a little bit more for some of the plants. And again, whenever you go plant shopping at a local plant shop, the majority of plants are going to be super healthy, and you won't really have to worry so much about pests as compared to maybe a big box store where maybe the care for those particular plants are not up to par. But again, it's not me bashing big box stores. You know, sometimes we may live in an area where we don't have a lot of local plant nurseries and we're subjected to just buying at big box stores. I love big box stores. You get big, some great pricing for some plants. All I'm saying is you have to just make sure that whenever you're bringing a plant from a big box store or even a local plant shop, that you are spraying the plant down with some type of insecticidal soap, some neem oil or something to make sure that there are no pests under the plants or just within the plants, hitchhikers, and quarantining your plants for at least 2 to 3 weeks so it doesn't like take out your plant collection or infest it with a plant pests. But you can see here they've got a lot of these low 2-inch starter planters. Sometimes I recommend getting those just because if you want to start a plant and you don't want to pay like a really expensive price for a particular plant, I would do that. But look at all of the beautiful hanging baskets that they have here. So I'm just gonna go walk around and just kind of give you a pan around tour of what plants we have available here. And over here we've got an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu blue pothos. This is endemic to my home country, the Philippines. They grow like weeds, and look at how it is already trailing. It is a beautiful plant. I will say though, with Cebu blue pothos, it does need a lot of light, otherwise it will start to shoot runners rather than grow foliage. So you want to make sure that you're giving it ample amounts of light. And then this is some type of fern. Let's take a look at this right here. This one is for $24.99, and it's got an interesting shape on that. It almost reminds me of a chrysanthemum, just the actual pattern on the leaves, but it's a beautiful looking fern. I don't have any fern in my collection. I am still a little bit weary about the fern just because I don't really water as often as I should for my plants, and they require a lot of water. This is another beautiful fern right here. Look at how it's got a silvery blue tone to it. This is a fern blue star. Beautiful plant. You can grow this in a hanging basket. So plant foldies that are watching this, or just anybody watching this, leave it in the comments if you actually grow fern. Like I said, again, I love comments in the comment section for these videos. I like to respond to them, and I just really love the engagement that we get from just leaving comments. So I'd really encourage you guys to take that step and maybe just leave me some insights about what plants you're seeing, what plants you're growing, what plants you like. But you can see here we've got several different types of fern. We got a bunch of bird's nest fern on the bottom right hand corner right over here, and that is probably a fern that I will eventually add to my collection. It's one that I think is gonna work well for me, and it also gets pretty large. This one is only for $8.99, so that is a really good price, and it looks super healthy. Just let me know in the comment section about the care tips for ferns. Now, if I'm gonna get a bird's nest fern, I'm thinking about just getting a hurricane type fern. That would be super cool. And then as I pan over here, look at how beautiful the plants are. And here is another beautiful fern. This one is for $8.99. Again, just ferns are not really my plant interest, but they may be for others. And then you can see right over here, we've got an Epipremnum aureum Enjoy pothos, or is that a pearls and jade? It looks like it's actually difficult to check. Let me take a little closer look. This one is an Enjoy's pothos because it doesn't really have the speckling. It has more of that high contrast between the green and the white variegation. This is a slower growing pothos plant, but Enjoy is one of my favorite plants. It is one that definitely has smaller leaves, and it's not as fast growing as a pothos. This one is for $29.99. So I actually bought the same type of hanging basket at another local plant nursery called Plants and Planters. If you haven't seen that video, I also featured them. And then you can see right here another beautiful asparagus fern. This is another fern that I have seen often actually at the grocery store, at Kroger. They sell these by Mason Farms, but I've never really seen it this large. It's in a hanging basket. And again, this particular fern looks like it needs to have a little bit more humidity. I already know that it's going to need to be watered a little bit more frequently, so it is not going to be a plant that I will add to my collection just because I don't really water my plants nearly as much as I need to. This is a huge Aglaonema Juliet. So Aglaonema Juliet is a beautiful aglaonema. The leaves are a little bit more narrow and small. They have a Romeo version where it's the same looking plant, but the leaves are a little bit larger and a little bit wider. But Aglaonema Juliet, this is that green on green variegation. It's a beautiful plant. Aglaonemas are very easy to take care of, and I would definitely recommend this plant for sure for anybody that wants to go start growing plants and they are a beginner plant parent. And then we're going to walk over here and look at these gorgeous looking hanging baskets of philodendron micans. So philodendron micans, and check out these aerial roots. Look at how long those aerial roots are. This philodendron micans actually does better when you let it grow up a totem pole. Those aerial roots will actually attach itself to a totem pole, moss pole, or a plank, and you will notice that the leaves will get larger. The beautiful velvety leaves are definitely a plus for the philodendron micans. It is one of my favorite plants, even though it is considered a common plant these days. Although I wouldn't say that they are as common as you would think. Very easy to actually propagate. You can just take cuttings, and notice how this one particular has a lot of aerial roots. They grow very well when you propagate them in water. And then over here we've got a beautiful philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. Love that as well. And this is a plant that I definitely want to get a hanging basket of. This was for $29.99, so that is not a bad price at all. It is already trailing. It is a plant that the variegation is really influenced by the amount of light you give it. So when you give it more light, it'll have more of that yellow and neon green variegation. Needless to say, it is an easy to care for plant. And then over here, we have a bunch of proven winter syngonium. So what I think is really interesting is this looks like a Syngonium Maria, but for $9.99, it is labeled as a Syngonium Panda. I don't think this is a Syngonium Panda by any means. Syngonium Panda is a green Syngonium, and it has a lot of like white speckles. This is just more of a dark foliage Syngonium. I would assume this is maybe a Syngonium Maria, although it is hard to tell. It's a beautiful plant. Now Syngoniums, one thing I have learned, and I've learned this through experiences, if you do not water it as much as it needs to be watered and you let it just dry out, it does not tolerate droughts and actually will lose its leaves. It'll start to crisp up, and then it'll get very unhealthy to the point where it'll attract like spider mites, and it's just not a good thing for Syngonium. So Syngoniums, while they are vigorous growers and I would consider them very easy to care for plants, they are not easy if you neglect them by not watering them. And you know, I'll be really transparent. I haven't been the best at watering my plants. I've seen people have to take, you know, a full day to water their plants. And that's the thing about, you know, growing house plants. If you inundate your house with many plants, like maybe hundreds of plants, hoarding hundreds of plants, it becomes more of an actual chore versus a hobby that brings you joy. I'm starting to really realize that. And I think that's the reason why I ended up not really being happy with my plant collection a couple years back. I ended up losing my plant collection just because I let my plants die. I got a little bit, a little bit discouraged. And plant foldies, I don't know if you've ever had those situations or experiences where you have a whole plant collection that just becomes a little bit overwhelming. And that's the reason why whenever I go do plant shopping videos, like I will definitely show you these plants. So we've shown a couple of these ferns, but I also like to blog about just my thoughts about plants and maybe even my personal life. So you'll have to bear with me. I know a lot of you guys are looking at the plants and really want me to discuss them, but at the same time, I want to use this YouTube platform to really just discuss some of my personal thoughts and just insights about plants, or maybe just in life in general. And you can see that this North Haven's garden is just a beautiful place. There is a very massive outdoor section as well. They actually sell plants, and they will actually repot and pot up plants for you if you buy them. And you can see here, these Monstera constellations are actually in a case. These ones I believe are for $89.99. This has some beautiful variegation, but that's the part that is a little bit disappointing, that rare plants like these Monstera type constellations, although I wouldn't consider them really rare, or plants that are high value, have to be locked up. It is a little bit sad because I've heard stories where people have plant lifted, where they literally have stolen a plant, maybe even taken several cuttings, or just taken a plant for their personal needs without paying for them. And honesty is the best policy, and I would just say there are some dishonest people out there, and it actually makes it worse for people who are honest and want to buy plants when they have to lock them up. So you wouldn't be able to really look at the plant, inspect them, and pull them out like that. So I just think that that's an interesting concept, because I have heard of some nurseries losing plants. I mean, it's kind of sad that sometimes I'll see an Instagram post and then there's a missing rare plant. So I don't know. I just think that people need to be honest when it comes to just plant collecting. There are some people that'll scam people out of, online plant shops. And that's the reason why we all have to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to buying plants online, and just the people you interact with, because not everybody has the best intentions. So hopefully our plant folding community has a honest, positive, welcoming atmosphere. I feel like that is, especially in the live premiere chats, and I really appreciate that. As you can see right here, we've got a bunch of these anthuriums, beautiful anthuriums. I love these blooming ones, the dark chocolate looking blooms are beautiful. And then as I pan over here, these are some really nice variegated bird's nest anthurium. And you can see right over here, this is another anthurium magnificum, beautiful anthurium. Now the thing about anthuriums, I wouldn't say they are a beginner level plant. They are definitely a plant that just needs a little bit more experience, because their care requirements, they definitely need bright indirect light, and the humidity levels. Can we talk about humidity levels? These plants typically need higher humidity levels, so that's one thing that makes them a little bit more challenging. And you can see variegated bird's nest anthurium. I think it's beautiful. I would buy one. This is by Leaf Joy Collector's Edition by Proven Winners. This one is for $59.99, so it's a little bit pricey. I wouldn't spend $59.99. However, for this particular plant, I would probably spend it on something else, like maybe a variegated Monstera or something that I'm a little bit more prone to buying. Anthurium is beautiful, but not for that particular price. Needless to say, it's a beautiful plant. So, plant foldies, let me know what your care tips are for anthuriums. If you've grown anthuriums, I have met some people who have some massive anthurium collections, and I'll tell you what, anthuriums are super cool because people have been hybridizing them and getting different types of seeds out of them, and cross-pollinating different types of anthuriums. And that's really what's interesting. You'll look at different plants and how they become hybridized, and that is another process that I would love to delve into, maybe learn. I know that I've been growing a lot of coleus plants, and so that might be something that hopefully I can get some seeds from, and maybe get some different types of varieties or different types of colors, characteristics when I grow them from seed. And then over here, we've got a Pachira aquatica. So what I like about Pachira aquatica is it is an easy to care for plant. They can get very large, and this one is for $16.99. Love Pachira aquatica. And this one seems to have some interesting leaves. Some of it has some yellowing, speckling, so I don't know if that's some type of disease, but for Pachira aquatica, it is known or believed to give people good luck. That's why it's considered the money tree. And then this trailing plant right here is interesting. Let me check it out. I've never really run into this plant. Let's take a look at it and see what it is. It is a parachute plant. So I'm going to assume, based on just the leaf texture, that this would be more of a succulent type plant. Now, I don't know really the care tips for the parachute plant, but look at how it is trailing. That is super cool. Again, it's one of those things where I would love to be able to grow some hanging basket plants. I just don't really want to drill a bunch of holes in my ceiling. I have a couple of command strips that have held some of my hanging baskets, but I am slightly concerned that one day they're just gonna fall over, and I already know that I'm gonna have to drill holes for those certain plants. This is a mimosa sensitive plant. That's an actual cool name for it. Look at that. It almost looks like a Brazilian rain tree plant. I do like the look of the plant, like the texture of the leaves. I don't know too much about this plant. So again, for anybody that's watching this video, please leave the comments for us. We would love to just know those plant care tips. And then what a beautiful Tradescanthia nanuk. So this is a beautiful plant. I love pink plants. This is another one that has some really nice pink variegation. This one is for $16.99, but honestly, I believe that that price is a little bit more pricey than it needs to be, because you can go to a big box store like Lowe's and they're selling it for like $5.98 and it's about the same size. Now, most people would think that I would say this is a Hydra helix. But unfortunately, this is not a Hedera helix or an English ivy. This is actually a wax ivy. This is a Sensio wax ivy variegated for $16.99. Notice how this looks like a English ivy, but it is actually a succulent. What I think is so cool is like it literally looks like an English ivy. The shape of it is, you know, from afar you would think these are English ivies, but when you touch the leaves, and you can see that these are a little bit tangled, the leaves are waxy. And it's definitely a succulent. It is one that you will definitely need to give it a lot of bright indirect light. I did buy one of these a little while back from Home Depot, but unfortunately I ended up just not doing very well with it, and it ended up dying. I don't know if it was just the watering that I did or maybe just the lighting conditions, but it is a plant. I'm almost tempted to buy this because I love the look of it, and it is not really a Hedera helix, so it's not going to be as spider mite prone. But we'll see. You know, it is $16.99, and I have been trying to like control my my plant spending. I mean, again, when I am doing plant shopping videos daily, it is very difficult, and I'm actually surprised that I don't have nearly as many plants. I will say maybe I'll add a plant maybe every other day, maybe every 4 days, just because it's just very hard to, you know, control yourself from actually adding plants. And then over here are some large bromeliads. Now this bromeliad has a really cool color to it. These are nice stripes. Really like the look of it as well, and I just love that look. Like, look at that. These are beautiful. And I have one bromeliad, and I've said this in many of my videos. I ended up getting it on clearance for $2.45 at Kroger. So this one though is for $49.99. That's pretty cool. It has some fern mixed into its planter. Beautiful plant, and I would say that that is probably one of the larger bromeliads I've seen. I've seen some people collect bromeliads exclusively. I don't know a lot about the plants, but what I do know is like this is another bromeliad, and look at the bloom on this plant. Beautiful purple blooms right here, and I love the red stems on the blooms. But with bromeliads, they are very common to find at a big box store, but whenever you go to a local plant nursery, you'll see some more unique looking ones. Like this one right here is also for $79.99, and it has like another baby popping out that you could separate from. I would like to be able to grow more bromeliads. The bromeliad I have actually is doing very well. I have it near a grow light, and I just water it maybe once a week by bottom watering it. Now check this plant out right here. This hanging basket plant right here is super cool. Look at that beautiful bloom. Love the pink bloom. This one is for $89.99, and this is another plant that I am not really aware of. I don't really know much about this plant, but that bloom is absolutely stunning. It is another plant that looks like it needs to be in a hanging basket. The bloom is beautiful. I love pink flowers in general, and that is such a unique looking plant. It's very elegant looking in this hanging basket, and that's the thing about North Haven Gardens. I've come and visited this place a couple of times a year, and it's always nice to see that they have plants that are healthy. Their greenhouse actually has a lot of variety of plants. I will say that some of their plant pricing may be on the higher side, but you're paying for the quality and the health of the plant. And then here again are some more wax ivies. I actually am tempted to buy this because look at how full this wax ivy is. And what's beautiful about the wax ivy is when you actually sun stress it, notice how there's some pink variegation. This is really nice, and this is for $24.99. So that's really not a bad price at all, especially for a plant that I would consider uncommon. This is another succulent type plant that is uncommon, and it, you know, it kind of rivals maybe even a variegated string of hearts. Now, obviously, variegated string of hearts is a little bit more of a vigorous grower, but I would even say a wax ivy like this is pretty vigorous as well. I think a lot of the success of being able to grow a wax ivy would really depend on how much light you're giving it. And then over here, we've got tons of bromeliads. This is a really interesting bromelia. This is a Quesnelia bromeliad. Notice how it doesn't have that wide bird's nest form. This looks more of like a columnar form right here. Beautiful speckling on the leaves. What a unique looking plant. Now this one I believe is actually quite expensive. Let's look at the price. This is for $59.99. So I would assume that this is another uncommon or rare type of bromeliad. So for the bromeliad collectors, let me know what you think about this bromeliad. And then the bromeliad right next to it, and we'll get to it, is actually another one I've never really seen. So we're going to take a look at it, but let's see what that bromeliad is. And it looks like we have some flaming swords that we typically see at a big box store, but look at this. This one is a bromeliad Vers Shirleyet. I think that's what you call it, but look at how beautiful that is. It's got some network, like some netting, and then just even the subtle pink and just the coloration of it. It doesn't even look like a real plant, but it is a beautiful plant. Notice the middle of the bromeliad has some water stored. They say not to really water the bromeliad from the top because you don't really want to have like a reservoir of water, especially if you are growing them indoors, because that would be a place where maybe fungus gnats will lay their eggs. So whenever I water my bromeliad, I actually bottom water it. I actually take the bromeliad and put it in a saucer full of water and just let the soil suck up the water versus like watering it from the top. And as I pan over here, you can see that this is a pretty big nursery. But then again, when you think about it, right? So we actually did a plant shopping video of PETA's Planters, which is also located in Dallas off of Garland Road. And that plant nursery had so many plants, but with such a smaller space. So sometimes it's interesting how much, impact a nursery has, even with the space. So if you haven't already, please definitely check out PETA's Planters. It's another video I uploaded about 2 to 3 days ago since this video premiered, but I would highly recommend that. Check them out also on Instagram at PETA's Planters. I know it's a plug that I want to do, but I really want to support that small business. And you can see over here, this bromeliad I really love. I've always been a fan of this bromeliad. I just love the pink colors on it, and then also just the striping of the leaves. It is really the color combination I love in plants. And again, it just looks like somebody may have spray painted some pink on it. Beautiful plant. I may eventually get more bromeliads. I love plants that have beautiful colors on their leaves. I do prefer some of the just green plants, greenery plants. That's a classic look. But when you have those bright colors, it just really brings a lot of joy into a space. And even just being out in this greenhouse, this is really nice. And plant foldies, you can even see here, we've got some more cactus right here, a hanging cactus. Check that out. That is super cool. I don't really see a lot of hanging baskets of cactus. And whenever I think about cactus, succulents, jades, Hoyas, I think of one of my loyal Plant Foldy viewers, Kathy from Canada. I know you're always wanting to look for that. And it's so exciting how excited you get to join the live premiere chats. I really hope you have fun interacting with the Plant Foldies on the live premiere chats. And I think that's what makes this YouTube channel fun. And so if you're watching this video live, please definitely, one, hit the like button to help this video get pushed out to more people. And two, don't be shy to say hello on the live premiere chats. If you're watching this maybe on a TV, that might be a little bit difficult, but if you're watching it on a phone or a computer, definitely say hi. And you can see right here, this is that wax ivy. Now, plant foldies, let me know if I should have bought this plant, but look at how beautiful it is. And look at how the blooms are. I have never seen a wax ivy in bloom. It looks like it has like daisy flowers on it. It is actually pretty wild that I've seen this plant in bloom. Really interesting. I probably should buy this hanging basket, but the cool thing about North Haven Gardens is that they restock their plants quite often. And actually there's a couple of plants that I remember seeing here. I will often go to this nursery to go to like a plant shop pop-up. I know Fitzgerald's Tropicals, which is a pretty common plant pop-up that happens here. They have some amazing rare plants. Love them too. They actually have an Instagram as well, but I remember seeing a couple of these plants when I went to their pop-up here a little while back. And you can see here we've got some African violets, so some assorted African violets. These are only for $9.99. Not a bad price at all. And surprisingly, my African violet that I bought that has that green on green variegation is doing very well, and it has grown so big. And I just recently saw some bloom starting to rebloom again. So I think that is super cool. I probably need to get some fertilizer for it so that way it'll bloom some more. But I also thought about buying these starter variegated African violets, like this one specifically. Look at that pink variegation. This is for only $4.99, so that is an amazing price for some variegated African violets. Now, most people will say African violets really remind them of their grandmother. It's more of like a grandmother type plant, but truthfully, this is another plant that I am really invested in that I probably should collect more of, because I have found that they've actually been very easy to take care of. Now, they do say African violets should never really be let to dry out, but you know what? I have actually gotten away with having it dry out a little bit more than I need to, and my African violet is doing fine. You can even see right here, beautiful African violets. I like the foliage. Actually, it's got a thick velvety texture on it, and you can see that North Havens loves to have their care tips for these plants. And again, that's another thing I like about local plant nurseries, is because they have all of the care tips readily available. You can see that. Look at all of those leaves. That's got just pretty much pink leaves, and you already know I love me some pink plants. And that's a reason why I gravitate to plants like Aglaonema, for instance, because they have that pink foliage. And then as I walk over here, you can see there are some beautiful different types of orchids. So whenever you think of orchids, we always think of all of those Phalaenopsis orchids we see at a big box store. But look at this right here. Look at that beautiful purple. And then you can see this is the plant ID for it. So I'm not really going to put as many of the plant IDs on this plant video. I know some of you guys like that. I just am pressed for time to really get all of those plant IDs. But don't worry, it's not that I will not visit North Haven Gardens, but I definitely want to make sure that I stay on schedule when it comes to my plant shopping videos, because I did miss the other day, but I really want to just stay on schedule with that. So you'll have to bear with me. I'll still show you guys some of the plant IDs if possible, but for now, at least in this video, if you're wondering where the plant IDs are, I'm just going to basically tell you the plant name for this particular video. And then you can see here just many more orchids right here. I'm just going to pan over. Look at this one right here. So this one looks more like a Phalaenopsis orchid, and I don't really grow orchids, but I do find them interesting. I have found a couple of YouTube channels that focus on orchids, and that is another world of plant care. Here is a beautiful Pilea mollis, or a Friendship Valley plant. Love this as well, and look at how cool the textures are. This would make a great terrarium plant. And then you can see right here, this is another Hedera helix, or the Hedera helix English ivy. This one is the gold baby English ivy. This one is also for $4.99. So they've got a lot of these little starter plants here. Now, Costa Farms has recently started bringing what they call tiny plants, which are basically these 2-inch starter plants, to some big box stores. So you'll have to check that out. I got excited because I found a Ficus shiveriana for $3.33. Here is a tiny purple shield, or purple Persian shield plant. Love this as well. Now mine is doing okay out in my front patio, but it's slightly leggy. I probably should have bought a plant like this small. That's actually a really cool looking plant. Love purple plants. Love those dark foliage plants. That's another thing that I like. I like dark foliage plants and also neon yellow plants. If you've been following my videos for the last couple of months, you know that I talk about that in pretty much every single video. And now we will be getting to all of these other like succulent plants. So we've got a bunch of cactus right here. I believe these are similar to like the Christmas cactus or holiday cactus. These are about to bloom, and then I actually think this is so cool. This is a variegated kalanchoe fire rainbow. So you think about those kalanchoe that are bloomers, like flora kalanchoe that you see at big box stores. Look at the variegation of this one. So this is another plant that if I were to add a kalanchoe to my collection, I would definitely do that. It is a succulent, but look at how beautiful that variegation is. I would think that if you sun stress this particular kalanchoe, that it would actually have some more beautiful pink variegation. And that is the beauty about like sun stressing succulents and Hoyas. You really get some interesting coloration. And you can see right here, right next to it is just the green form of the kalanchoe with blooms. And then you can see this has some more of these I think this is ruby necklace. I may be wrong. Let's take a look at the plant ID, but you can see right there, beautiful plant. And yep, that is it. This is for $14.99 right here. Now with a succulent, you already know succulents need a lot of light. The more light you give it, the better it's going to thrive. And also you don't want to overwater it. You want to wait till the soil is dried completely before you water it. And you can see right here, what is this plant right here? This is another kalanchoe. This is interesting. I would never think that this is a kalanchoe. So kalanchoe, that plant is another plant that has really fascinated me. I think it's because I see that plant often, and you can see right over here, these are for $3.99. We've got several different types of succulents. Now I know you've asked me to feature more succulents, so I'm going to try to take my time to show you the different types of succulents. The only thing is with these plants, I may not know all of the plant IDs. Now this one right here is an Aeonium black rose. Look at how beautiful this is. And if you're going to ask me one of my favorite types of succulents, that would be it, is the Aeonium genus. They've got so many varieties. Most of them I am more interested in the pink varieties because again, I love pink plants. And then you can just see right here, we've got several different types of assorted succulents. So if you wanted to make it like a succulent arrangement, you can get several of these. These are for $3.99, and you can see they've got Aeonium series species right here. So apparently it includes about 35 different types of identified Aeonium species. I do think that there are more, but you can see this is another one here. Not sure what this particular Aeonium is. This one has a little bit more damage, but these plants can actually grow in people's landscapes depending on the grow zone. I know in California, people grow those out in their yards and they grow rampant, and I think that is so cool. And you can see here, this is another one. Now this one I believe is an Aeonium Mardi Gras. That is another plant right here. And honestly, for $3.99, I wouldn't mind paying that price because you can get a small one like this, but it will easily grow with some proper care. Like if you give it bright light, the watering is consistent, you can actually get that, and it actually will shoot out more pups from the side that you can actually separate from the mother plant. So that's a funny thing about succulents. That's the reason why I was like, if I'm going to think about an easy to care for plant, I would think of succulents because they kind of fit that criteria. And I love this crassula or jade plant. This is the obliqua tricolor. Look at how beautiful it is, and it's got that pink variegation. But when you think about like succulents, they would be considered an easy to care for plant because at least under my criteria, they are drought tolerant. They do need just that bright light, and I think that that's what makes them not as easy, is because you have to be able to provide that light. So say if you were going to grow a succulent indoors, I think that's where it starts to get a little bit more challenging because you have to give it light. Like most people would have to grow them under a grow light or put them next to a south facing window to get that ample amount of light. But you can see several different types of succulents. Like look at this one. This one looks ghostly. I love that pale look about it. It's got that powdery look. And that's the beauty about plants. I mean, especially succulents. They've got so many different textures, colors, and it's just an interesting world. And so for me, I haven't really like committed to just one particular type of plant. When I talk about plants, like this one right here is another Aeonium plant. What a beautiful plant this is. And notice how it's gotten larger. This one's only for $9.99. That is a really good price for that head of an Aeonium. And you can see that they've got some pink. I've noticed that the more light you give it for an Aeonium, like if you just grow them in full sun, they will give you the best coloration possible. And that's the thing I like about succulents is they're easy to take care of, definitely when you grow them outdoors, especially in an area where maybe you have a south facing front patio that gets a lot of light. You can put them in containers and do an arrangement. And then this one again is another jade plant I want to buy. That one is the Crassula obliqua tricolor. See, I'm starting to learn the plant IDs, my plant foldies, so hopefully you guys can give me some credit for it. I just love talking about these plants. And then you can see here, this one's for $9.99 as well. Beautiful variegation. Love variegated succulents right here. And the thing about succulents is you can get better coloration the more light you give it. And that's another thing I like about succulents is you can propagate them easily. You can either take a cutting from them and just stick it directly into soil. Some people will take just maybe a leaf and let it sit on top of the soil, and it will actually propagate itself. What I love though is the fact that this plant nursery has variegated string of pearls for $9.99. So just like the variegated string of hearts, string of pearls is a very vigorous grower. I would consider getting this because look at that. That is such a cool thing. String of variegated pearls. Now where I'm from, which is the Philippines, pearls are abundant. It is a national treasure. And so when I think about plants that remind me of my home country and my culture, it's another thing that makes me really gravitate to that. And definitely a variegated string of pearls is one of them. And we talk about variegated. This is a variegated string of hearts for $14.99. Now this one is in a 2-inch starter. The thing about variegated string of hearts is if you can't find them in this size, they are very easy to grow and propagate. The hanging baskets that I bought for $12.97, I got one at Walmart and I got one at Lowe's. They've already started pushing out so many more new leaves. It's actually fun to see that. I always get nervous about getting string of hearts. I know about 3 to 4 years ago, they used to be like such a highly sought after plant. I would think that they still are, just because they have that string hanging trailing that people will like for like interior spaces. But it took a while for me to get a variegated string of hearts. I have 2 of them. I'm considering doing a plant giveaway, so we will check that out. And then you can see right here, this is an Echeveria, but this one is actually in bloom. Love the look of that Echeveria right here. This one is for $6.99. Beautiful looking plant. It's got some blooms as well. And that's the thing I love about cactus is when they bloom. So I always think, are we going to be able to like hybridize cactus? And this is beautiful. So this is a succulent arrangement with some crassulas and also some eoniums. And as I pan over here, look at all of these succulents and cactus. And I really hope for the succulent and cactus lovers, you guys are enjoying this feature. So I'm going to walk over here now and let's go ahead and take a look at all of these cactus. Look at this one right here. This has this like tornado texture feel about it. That spiral columnar shape is really cool. I like that. I would actually grow this in my my space because look at that. And it actually has pink blooms according to the thing, the picture that shows it. But this is quite expensive though. This is for $59.99. I would assume this is another plant that is a little bit more pricey because it might be rare. And check this out. This is a peanut cactus. I believe this is a a peanut cactus in bloom. Look at how beautiful the blooms are. And that's the thing about succulents. It's amazing that plants, when they have blooms, some plants are just really surprising when it comes to their blooms. Now, these are what you call living stones. So there's different varieties of them. I will say they are cute. They are a plant that I've never grown. I may try to grow some of them, but again, they just require a lot of light. And then this one right here, it says do not water. Let's see what kind of cactus this is. This one is for $10.99. Look at how fuzzy it is. That's super cool. And I love those fuzzy cactus. So I could see how there are some people that may collect cactus as well. I am a lover of plants, and you know what? I might end up growing a plant obsession for cactus. I know that there was a comment about, maybe me slowing down or not really talking as much about coleus plants. My response is, for the type of content that I'm giving. I mean, I am open to feedback, but I want to really remain authentic to myself about what plants I want to feature, just because I feel like this is my space that I want to share what my interests are. And hopefully most people, it will resonate with most people that that's really what I want to do, is show you guys the plants that I love, and perhaps I can influence you guys into loving as well. So yes, I will talk about Coleus, I will talk about Aglaonema, and I will continue to say Hydra Helix, but maybe not as much. I totally get it. Some people might not like me saying Hedera Helix that way, but for my original plant foldies and for the ones that have stuck with me since the very beginning, you know I will continue to be myself, Richie at Growfold. So just to get off of that little rant right there. And then you can see here, we've got some more cactus and succulents. This one is a nice one. That one is for $24.99, but it's really cool. And what I love about it is, look at these terracotta pots and just the look of it. I love terracotta pots. I think they're classic. You know, when you talk about planters and plant aesthetics, if you were to see like Peta's planters, which are handmade pots made by her, Lupita, who owns Peta's planters, you'll see the type of aesthetic I like. I love that modern, chic, very clean, very minimalistic versus, you know, having a lot of textures and having patterns and things like that. I prefer more of like a simple pattern. But the terracotta planter, point blank, hands down, that is a planter that I will always add into my plant collection, just because it's a very classic looking planter, and it's one of those things where it's just simple. And for planters, when you think about it, especially for like this Sansevieria right here, growing Sansevieria or plants that don't require a lot of water, growing them in terracotta pots is the best, because terracotta actually gets rid of the moisture a lot faster versus a plastic pot that will actually retain the moisture. And so we can get into a little bit more detail about that in another video where I talk about planters, but that's something that I actually thought about possibly just really discussing in future videos. And you can just see right here, I have panned out so many different plants. Now for the Hoya lovers, you're gonna like this segment because I am going to show you the plant care tips right here. You can feel free to pause this video so you can kind of read the care tips by North Haven Gardens about how to take care of Hoya. I have been getting into Hoyas. I think I just have an appreciation for the texture of the leaves, the variety of Hoyas, and if I ever see more Hoyas in blooms, I'll probably become even more obsessed with Hoyas. But you can see here, my plant foldies, that this one is a Hoya carnosa, just a green variety in a hanging basket. Beautiful Hoya right here. Plant foldies, let me know in the comments what your favorite Hoya is. I would say my favorite Hoya, and I know it sounds silly, but I really like the Hoya Chelsea. Just the green, simple variegation, like non-variegated Hoya is a really cool one. Although I will say Hoya Lisa right here is another beautiful Hoya. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. I don't know the bloom color of that Hoya, but you can see here is another Hoya here. These are for $29.99. Look at this one right here. Plant foldies, what do you think about this Hoya? That's the thing about North Havens. You know, I know that you guys have asked to see more Hoya, and so I really want to see if I can show you guys more Hoyas. Really like that as well. Now big box stores typically only have the Hoya carnosa, but here you got different ones. So this one right here is another Hoya I can't really pronounce, but this one is for $29.99. Pretty cool. It's got a little bit of just a green Hoya, but I love that about Hoyas, how they've got thick leaves and they are very drought tolerant. My Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess has probably not been watered for about a month and it is still doing well, and I think it's because it has that waxy leaf. Like look at this one right here. This is so cool. This is another Hoya I would like, just because I like that pastel green minty color of a Hoya, and this one is definitely a stunner here. And notice how Hoyas have different sizes on the leaf. I love that as well, and it's just really interesting to see that. And you know, for me, I would like to add more Hoya, but you know, Hoyas require a lot of bright light, and that's the thing. Again, my plant foldies is, as we look at these beautiful plants, this one's for $24.99. This is just a common Hoya crinkles, but I love the crinkly leaves right there. The thing about it is, as beautiful as the plant is, I cannot stress to you enough about whenever you're buying a plant, you've really got to assess your indoor space. Do you have the right lighting conditions? If you don't, do you want to invest money on grow lights? And then number two, your humidity levels, as well as number three, the time you invest to do plant chores, like the upkeep of like getting rid of dead leaves, inspecting for pests, watering, all of that. You know, I really have to listen to my own advice because I am not the best when it comes to like staying on top of my plant chores. Like I can buy plants all day, I can admire plants all day, but when it comes to the simple watering, I am so terrible at it. I think it's because back then I used to be an over waterer, so I would actually water my plants more frequently, which led to me having a bunch of fungus gnats. So now I'm more cautious about watering, so I went the other extreme. But anyways, to get off of that rant, as you can see here, full table of Hoyas. And I say that you want to like shop at a local plant nursery, and that's the reason why I've been trying to mix up like local plant nursery shopping versus big box store shopping, just because then you can see other plants that maybe you won't see at a big box store. I did find this beautiful Monstera celtipicana though at a Lowe's, and you better believe that I bought that hanging basket. And then look at this beautiful ficus triangularis variegata. Love this as well, although people will say this is a finicky plant. Mine is doing very well. I actually have it growing out in my front patio, south facing, in a bonsai pot. I actually made it into a bonsai, and it is doing very well. It does require a lot of light, so growing it outdoors makes it easy. I do water it daily just because it is in bonsai mix, and I just want to make sure I stay on the consistency for that. But look at how beautiful that is. This plant does require a little bit more humidity if you're going to grow them indoors, but that is a plant, if you can actually keep up with the care, it is a beautiful plant. And as I pan away, we are now going to be looking at Epipremnum aureum or pothos plants. This one is another plant that I like. This one is an Epipremnum aureum Shangri-La for $29.99. So this plant used to be a very weird looking plant. I noticed that this one though actually has some of the leaves kind of unfurled. Sometimes you will see it just be more like rolled up, and it's just interesting because it almost reminds me of spinach. And then over here, beautiful Epipremnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. So notice how that this has like variegation. It has more yellow variegation. That is what you find for the Epipremnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. I'm trying to get it out of here. Let's see how much it costs. It does. It is trailing, so that is super cool. For a slow growing pothos, that I wouldn't mind buying that, but this is for $49.99. So in this case, I would actually buy the lemon meringue pothos at a big box store, or I would even go to like another local plant nursery called Peta's Planters. They sell it for a little bit less. Needless to say, though, North Haven Gardens, it's still a beautiful plant. You know, some people will pay $49.99. It is worth it, I would say, just because the variegation of the yellow is high quality. These are very good quality lemon meringues, so I could see why the price is a little bit higher. This can be propagated easily because it is already trailing, and that's the thing I like about pothos plants. I am all about propagating plants and getting free plants to multiply and give to friends. Honestly, for me, I just like to hoard my propagations. If you were to see my front patio, I probably have about 35 to 40 different types of coleus plants that I have propagated and multiplied and grown. I am definitely going to do a coleus plant tour for anybody that wants to check it out. That's going to be something that I will do on a separate video for sure. And then you can see I've shown you the jade pothos. Now this is the neon pothos. Beautiful looking pothos. This is one that you will see at a big box store. It is a beautiful plant. I love the neon green variegation. And as I've stated before, notice how the lemon meringue pothos, it has smaller leaves as compared to the neon pothos. Neon pothos definitely needs to have a lot of light for it to stay more yellow neon. And then over here, this is for $29.99. This is a beautiful Enjoy pothos. Yes, it's an enjoy pothos, I believe. Look at how beautiful that variegation is. And can you imagine growing this on a totem pole, letting it crawl up a pole? Whenever you grow pothos plants on a pole and they attach their aerial roots, their leaves get larger, and that would just be beautiful. This is for $12.99. Very good price. Very, very good price for an enjoy pothos. I would recommend it. And what I love about the variegation of this enjoy pothos is even if it gets lower light conditions, it will never really revert back to green. You may not get nearly as high white variegation, but it is a plant that holds its variegation. Now, these are marble queen pothos. Now, these ones are not as variegated. They look like they are a little bit sun stressed because they have some bleaching going on. And you can see this is another hanging basket of Hoya Lisa. I would say Hoya Lisa is probably my second favorite type of Hoya. I love that some of the new leaves, when like sun stressed, they come out red or pinkish. And then here is another 6-inch planter of marble queen pothos for $29.99. And I'm actually really happy that I bought that hanging basket of marble queen pothos at the Walmart off of Prosper. I got it for $19.84, and it's a little bit more full than that. Here is a Monstera Peru. This is another plant that I want to get. I'm actually looking for the variegated version, but the green version is pretty cool too. I love that texture on the leaves. And then as I pan over here, you can see some really tall dracaenas. And what else do we have here? So we've got some peperomias. This is a peperomia Rousseau. Notice the red undersides are really cute, and all of those little strings or rat tails are actually the blooms. So you can tell that this peperomia is super happy. This is for $9.99. That's not a bad price at all. So if you want to start collecting peperomias, now peperomias are pretty easy to care for plants. Love this peperomia watermelon. Beautiful looking plant. I love the red stems, but then you can also look at the leaves. They literally look like watermelons. This is one plant that definitely matches its name, and that's only for $8.99. Not a bad price at all. I remember when this plant used to be a lot more expensive a couple of years back. And then you can see here we've got some string of turtles. This one is for $24.99. This is also another vigorous type of string plant. It is a succulent, so it's going to need to get a lot more bright light in order for it to really thrive. And then over here we've got another peperomia. This is a peperomia piccolo or piccolo. This is for $8.99 as well. So that's the beauty about going to North Haven Gardens. You can actually start your own little collection of a particular genus because they have several varieties within a genus. And then over here is another peperomia by Proven Winners. This is the gold dust peperomia. Look at that. Beautiful variegation on it. Again, with all of these peperomias, they just need to let their soil dry out completely, and then you can water them and they will do just fine. I prefer to bottom water my peperomias though, especially like the Rousseau, just because the leaves don't really want to stay wet and it will just prevent them from like rotting away. Here is what you would consider a Dieffenbachia, but this is actually a Homolamena camouflage. It almost looks like a Dieffenbachia. And one of my favorite plants right here, this is a Palea or an aluminum plant. Really like the look of it. Notice that this one has more of a bleached look. It doesn't seem as metallic gray. It's just got a little bit more of the light. And you can see here, it's just a regular string of hearts. This isn't a variegated form, but look at how it's trailing. Look at how long it is. Look at how vigorous of growth it is. Beautiful plant. I have really grown fond of the variegated string of hearts that I have because it's really not that fussy of a plant, and it actually produces a lot more leaves. And then I want to take a look at this. So this is really cool. It is the Nanthe plant right here. This is the gray star Nanthe plant, and I really like that as well. I like Proven Winners that they feature that because I want to grow this hydroponically. This one is for $59.99, so that is a little bit pricey, at least for my range, because you can actually buy them a little bit less expensive. I actually saw one already in hydroponics where, for those that don't know what hydroponics means, it means that you're growing the actual plant in straight water. There's no soil. The roots are literally sitting in water, and all you have to do is like put plant nutrients in it. But you can see here, this is a huge Alocasia. Now, I don't know the Alocasia plant ID for this, but what I do know is you can grow that in a landscape in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, and it will be a perennial where it'll come back year after year. And then over here, we've got some Ficus elastica shivrianas. Beautiful plant. Love the variegation on it. That used to be a very expensive plant, and as I pan away, you can see all of the different types of like rubber tree plants or ficus plants. We've got some Ficus elastica rubies right here, and now with the rubies, to get that like peach red variegation, that's for $24.99. You want to make sure that you're providing it with a lot of light. I would recommend going to Trader Joe's though, just because Trader Joe's sells those same size plants but for $12.99. That's just my opinion. Whenever I think of like Ficus elastica, I think about Trader Joe's. This is a really cool looking calathea. Look at the texture and also the pattern on the leaves. It's absolutely stunning. It is perfect. It is a plant though that I will not add to my plant collection because I know myself, calatheas are just a very challenging plant. Unfortunately, even growing them in hydroponics, they have their own, issues. I do find this plant really nice. That one is for $19.99. This is another plant that I would like to add though, because it's got that green on green variegation. It's a very cool looking plant, and it pretty much like moves its leaves toward the light. So I always find it interesting that it just constantly has its leaves kind of dancing and moving around. And then this one is an interesting calathea. So this is a calathea silver plate. What an interesting one. This looks like almost like a Calathea rospicta, but this is a Calathea silver plate. It looks like it's gotten a little crispy, so I don't know if it was just underwatered. And then this is a really nice Calathea for $14.99. This is a Vittata. Really nice looking stripes on it as well. Gorgeous looking calathea. I love that as well. And then right next to it on the very left is a classic Calathea makoyana. And then this is another interesting calathea. This one is a Helen Kennedy calathea. So it looks almost like a makoyana, but it's not. And I just love the fact that they really look like feathers. Now this is the makoyana calathea right here for $14.99. Sorry, $14.99. Beautiful looking calathea. I just wish calatheas were not as finicky, and wish that they didn't crisp up as easily when we don't water them, because they are just not a plant that I could add to my collection. I just have killed a couple of calatheas, but then again, I'm pretty sure plant foldies, some of you guys have also have that experience of killing calatheas. Here is a beautiful Peperomia Ecuador. Love that too. It's a pretty funky looking Peperomia. It's another Peperomia I wouldn't mind adding to my collection. I do love the silver foliage that it has. And as I pan away and show you guys, so these are going to be some of my favorite plants, and I know it's quote a basic plant, an underrated plant. Well, let's get to this first. So this one right here is a Dieffenbachia Panther by Proven Winners. This is for $49.99. Notice that it is a little bit leggy, but look at how beautiful that variegation and pattern is on those leaves. That is absolutely stunning. And then what else do we have here? So now we're going to be looking at the dragon tree, also known as a Dracaena. So these are beautiful Dracaenas, $11.99. But notice how all of the roots have just started to shoot out. I remember looking at these Dracaenas a couple months back, like maybe a month and a half back, since I visited, and you can see how very healthy looking and compact looking these Dracaenas are. I am definitely going to buy a Dracaena today. I might end up buying this one. Look at how root bound that is, but that is a good sign to show that actual Dracaena is very happy. That would be one instance where I would actually buy one of these Dracaenas. Like this is a Dracaena Tornado for $11.99. Really good price actually for this size of a Dracaena. I may end up buying all of these Dracaenas, but I'm only going to buy one today, and I believe I'm going to get the Dracaena with the multiple colors on it, like this one right here. I think I'll end up buying one or two of these, one of the two of these right here, because look at that. That's really healthier looking roots. Typically, I would say if you're going to buy a plant, you don't want to just take it home and repot it, but this would be a plant that when I buy it, I will definitely have to repot it. I bought some threshold planters from Target. By the way, this week Target is still having that online sale for 30% off of their planters. really nice planters that they have so far, but I would end up planting this one. I think I might end up buying this one. I'm not 100% sure, but I am set on buying a Dracaena today. I told myself that I would buy it next time. Like, look at how beautiful that Dracaena Tornado is. This one is for $11.99. Beautiful looking compact growth as well. Love that a lot. My Dracaena Tornado is doing amazing. It is in a lower light condition, but it is still pushing out new growth. I don't really have to water my Dracaena as often. They can tolerate being underwatered, and they can tolerate being in lower light conditions and still maintain that color. That is one of my favorites. Super happy to see that. And then we have some Stromanthe right here. Stromanthe Triostar for $9.99. That is a really good price. And then I just love the look of it. My Stromanthe Triostar is actually doing very well. I don't really water it as much, but the leaves don't really crisp. So I'm happy that I have that plant. I ended up buying that actually at Target of all places. And then we're going to be looking at this. So we've got some more Alocasia. Look at how beautiful that Alocasia is. It's stunning. And this one is for $29.99. That one is the Barina Silver. And then look at this Alocasia Jacqueline. So this one is for $39.99. I do like the look of Alocasia Jacqueline. It's just the ones that Costa Farms at least release as a trending tropical. At least I bought one and it just really didn't do very well. Even in a self-watering planter, it struggled and it eventually died on me. This is an Alocasia watsonii Lightning. What a cool looking Alocasia as well. Like, I would love to be able to grow Alocasia, but they're just a finicky plant. I am going to start growing all of my Alocasias outdoors for now. Like, look at how beautiful that variegation is right here. Beautiful variegation. Love that as well. But with Alocasias, they require higher humidity levels. They definitely need to be watered more consistently, not too much because it will actually root rot, but I am the type, again, that just doesn't water my plants as often, and I've seen some of my Alocasias suffer. One beautiful Alocasia I like, and notice that that's got one variegated leaf, that little speckle. This one is for $19.99. This is an Alocasia Purple Sword. Notice that the roots are already coming out. I wouldn't mind buying this. That is a beautiful, healthy looking Alocasia. Now, I know like Home Depot also sells that through Proven Winners, but I would actually go and buy this one for $19.99 because it's pretty healthy looking. And then over here, we have a bunch of Alocasia Silver Dragons. These are ones that you've seen at a big box store like Walmart. These are for $59.99. So a little bit more pricey than the trending tropicals for $19.84. But needless to say, beautiful Alocasia. Love that North Havens has a lot of Alocasia. So now we're going to be taking a look at some aeroids or some Monsteras and philodendrons. Here is a Monstera deliciosa, just a green form here for $19.99. I am happy that I repotted both of my Monstera deliciosas in larger pots, and it's actually growing under a grow light. We'll see if it'll get larger. And then over here, we've got a philodendron Ceylon Beauty, $9.99. That is a beautiful plant as well. Love that yellow neon green variegation. This one will need a lot of light in order for it to really retain that yellow variegation. And then we've got a not so variegated pink princess, but still a beautiful plant. I love the dark foliage of this. This one is for that price. That's a little bit pricey for it, but again, philodendron pink princess, you can find them in a big box store. And then we have all of these smaller 4-inch planters, $16.99 for a full 4-inch planter of philodendron micans. Love philodendron micans. And then right here, we've got a philodendron Brantianum. Let's see how much this is for $9.99. Not a bad price, so actually for a 4-inch planter for a philodendron Brantianum. They have been showing up more so at a big box store, and you can see this one is actually a philodendron Soderoy Silver. What a nice looking philodendron. I actually would buy this one. So I love philodendrons. That is, you know, a plant that I would say is more of like the collector plant for most people that grow indoors. You know, these philodendrons, like this is a beautiful philodendron Columbia for $9.99. Look at the texture of the leaves. Beautiful philodendron. And as this gets larger, as it grows, the leaves actually get larger. And then we have some really healthy looking, highly variegated philodendron Ring of Fires for $39.99. Although you could find this at a big box store for a lot less, I would say the quality at North Havens though is worth the price. $39.99 for that price. It used to cost a lot more, but it is a beautiful philodendron. It is one that I am currently growing and it's not giving me any issues. And then right over here we got a philodendron El Choco Red for I think it's a $59.99, or I'm not 100% sure, but what a beautiful looking philodendron this is. That one is got that velvety texture. Now if you have velvety leaves, typically they are a little bit more spider mite prone, so you're just gonna have to stay on top of the care. And then right over here, this is another Tomathophyllum. Look at how large this one gets. Like, it's massive, and it will continue to get massive. So if you want to plant like this in your home, just know that you'll need the space for it because it's a vigorous grower. It gets very large. And then over here we've got some large philodendron Prince of Orange. You've got to love philodendron Prince of Orange. I love the new foliage that comes out. It's got that orange tone about it. And now we're going to be looking at begonia. So look at this beautiful begonia right here. This one's actually in bloom. Love the look of it. This is a super full basket or planter of begonia. This is a begonia tiger right here. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? That is a beautiful plant as well. Again, with begonias, you just want to make sure that the soil remains moist. And then we've got a bunch of proven winner begonias here that I'm going to show you. This one is the Heidi. I think this one's got that pink and silver leaves around it. Really love the look of it. These are all a bunch of Rex begonias. And I do like the fact that it's got a different leaf shape. And then what else do we have here? Let's see how much these proven winter begonias are, or what they're called. Let me try to pull another one out here. So this one's another different type of Rex begonia by Proven Winners. Let's see, I'm just having a difficult time getting this one. This one is Izar begonia, Rex begonia. Look at that. That's pretty cool. It's not as silvery, but it still has a nice leaf shape to it. And that's the beauty about begonias. There are so many different types of begonias. This is a Sarma, I think that's how you pronounce it. Another begonia. This one is a little bit more green. And you notice that all of these Rex begonias look super healthy. I will say Proven Winner plants are really good plants to buy from. Proven Winners has some amazing plants. Like, look at this one right here. And then just the undersides of the leaves. Look at that maroon coloration, of this Rex begonia. So Rex begonias, they're attempting to grow. For me, they don't necessarily grow as well. This is the Leda Rex begonia right here. I haven't had the best luck with Rex begonias. Sometimes I underwater them a little too much, and then they are just a challenging plant for me. I wouldn't say that I am really meant to grow begonias, but this begonia for $10.99 is a really good price. Look at how large these Rex begonias are, and this one is also in bloom. So if you are a begonia fan, plant folies, let me know in the comments. But as you can see here, I am about to finish up at least the indoor section of this plant nursery tour. You can see they've got a lot of aglaonemas, and notice all of these aglaonemas are different, but they look very much the same. This is an aglaonema Osaka right here. Look at how white it is. Some people will even mistaking this as a super white, but that is an aglaonema Osaka. We have an aglaonema. Is this spring snow? Yep, this is another one right here. Notice that it is slightly less white. And that's the thing about these aglaonemas, or actually this is First Diamond. I'm sorry, that is First Diamond. Again, that is an easy to care for plant that I would recommend. But as I pan over here, I just wanted to show you a couple more plants. They got some larger dracaenas, but notice how this plant nursery just has some awesome tropical plants. I love it, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed what you've seen so far. But now I will be going outside, and we're just going to take a look at some of the outdoor plants. I hope that you guys have stuck alongside to watch this video. I know it's a little bit longer, but it is the weekend, and I wanted to have like a nice plant party for you guys. Hopefully everybody is enjoying themselves in the chat. just continue to leave comments, and if you haven't already and have gotten this far to the video, please hit the like button. I cannot tell you guys enough how much it helps the channel. It motivates me to do these daily plant videos because I really want to see us grow as a community. And then over here, I am actually gonna end up buying these plants because I love the purple foliage. This one is a calico pepper or ornamental pepper plant. Look at that right there. It's got a beautiful purple and cream variegation. I am going to grow this in a planter outdoors. I may try to overwinter this or grow this indoors and just give it a lot of light, maybe grow it under a grow light. But these are for $11.99. This one is the purple flash ornamental pepper. I'm going to buy that one as well. So there's two different varieties right here. Yeah, purple flash, that is super cool. I never really paid attention to this plant. Again, there's a lot of plants that I never really paid attention to, but this is a cool looking plant. This is an ornamental pepper plant, so it will grow some of those purple peppers. I don't think that they're really meant to be eaten, but I really want to just grow this because of the dark foliage. That purple foliage is absolutely stunning. You can see right here that this is a plant apparently that needs to be more in like a bright indirect light or shaded condition. I'm going to push the envelope and try to give it a little bit more light just to see if I can get a better coloration for it. But you can see here they have some more plants, and I wish I had more time to really show you the outdoor section. They even have the Japanese maples. Maybe we'll stroll through those and see, but you can see that this one has some interesting variegation. But I am definitely going to buy one of these. Like this one has that lavender variegation, some purple, and it's just got a nice looking texture to the leaves. I'm not sure if a lot of people will even try to grow these as indoor plants, but I will be growing them in my south facing front patio. And you can see there we've got some lantana plants, and then we're going to just take a look at what other outdoor plants are. And don't you know, it's not a surprise, this is a Grow Folds video, so I'm going to feature a bunch of these coleus plants. So all of these coleus plants are for $7.99, and these quart plants right here, look at this one right here. This is a wedding train, burgundy wedding train. So this one is a smaller foliage coleus plant. I would actually buy this coleus plant. I think I'm going to buy a couple of coleus plants because it has smaller foliage, and then I love this coleus. This coleus can take full sun. This is a coleus wasabi, and it can get very large as well. Now plant folies, I know I talk about coleus plants. Maybe some of you guys are tired about me talking coleus plants. Unfortunately though, I'm going to keep talking about coleus plants because I love them. It may be maybe I'm just geeking out too much about coleus plants, but look at this one right here. Look at how it has a different type of leaf shape and color. And notice the green, the neon green coleus plant. I love coleus wasabi. Here is another coleus plant that I already have in my collection. So pretty much whenever I go to a big box store or a local plant nursery, if there is a coleus plant and that coleus plant is not part of my collection, hands down, I will always buy it. And there's already a couple of varieties that I don't have, so I will be definitely buying some of these coleus plants. Now plant folies, let me know what you think about some of the coleus plants. I know some of you guys have gotten some coleus plants. Like I know Alfred from Canada, thanks for sharing your picture of your coleus plant that you chopped and got to root in water. I told you guys, literally you can take a cutting, stick it in water, and literally within 5 days you'll see roots. Like this one right here, I already have this one. This is a sun coleus, but look at how beautiful the edges of the leaves are. It's got red, and then it's got neon green, and then look at all of these different coleus. Like how do you not like coleus? You know, how could you not like coleus plants? Look at that. And the cool thing is, again, you would never really think to grow a coleus plant indoors, but you can really grow coleus plants indoors, like a philodendron. Like all they need is a little bit more light. But then again, when you grow coleus outside in a container or even in the outdoor, like actual flower bed, these coleus plants, depending on what they typically prefer to be in shade. Like look at this one right here. I already have this coleus plant and it's doing very well for me, but look at that sea of purple over there, beautiful coleus. And North Haven's hands down probably has the most coleus plants I've seen. Maybe that one particular Callaway's Nursery, which is a local plant nursery out in Dallas, Texas, has a little bit more, but look at how beautiful that is right there. That is absolutely stunning. And again, these are $7.99, and I need this coleus. I don't have this one. This is a luminous coleus plant. Look at how beautiful that pink is. And you already know I love me some pink plants. So I will be getting one of these for sure. It's so funny to me whenever I think about the plants that I fold or actually just throw away my budget or my no plant buy. Coleus is one of them. This is a Kong coleus. So Kong coleus actually have larger leaves, and you can see there's even more varieties here. I don't even really know why I am obsessed about coleus plants. I'm trying to think, is it just because they're easy to grow, or the propagation is just so easy? Like, I've never seen a plant that you can take even just the smallest cutting, stick it in soil, and just water it daily, and it will root and reproduce itself. Like, it will just do very well. Like, I'm gonna buy this one as well because I don't really have a lot of small foliage coleus plants. I have larger leaf ones. I've got Kongs, and look at how beautiful this is. This is another luminous coleus plant. I think I'm gonna get this one. This one is a little bit more full, and it's got more pink in it. You gotta love pink coleus plants, and I have to hand it to North Havens. They've got it going on for coleus plants, so I will be definitely coming back to North Havens to see if they get any more different types of coleus plants. Look at how beautiful that is, and notice how they have these are the same plant. So this one is a luminous plant, but notice the stark difference. And again, with coleus plants, a lot of their coloration is actually influenced by the amount of light they get. You can see over here, this is another Kong coleus plant. Really like that a lot. Now, Kong coleus plants cannot really take a lot of sun, maybe morning sun, but that is about it. Otherwise, they will burn. And then we've got this coleus again. I can't get over the pink. This is probably the most pink coleus I've seen so far while being out. So I'm excited that I found that in that quart size for $7.99. And I am confident that I'll be able to get this to grow large, take cuttings, multiply it. I have been able to multiply my coleus campfire that I bought from Walmart. It is a full bush, and I have gotten about 12 new propagations from it. This is a coleus special effects. I have that one as well. That one can grow in full sun, and I'm about to chop it up and propagate it. But you can see so many different coleus plants. So plant foldies, I know that some of you guys may not be in a coleus, but you already know I'm going to always talk about the plants that I am passionate about. And I hope that you guys will still stick around, because I do attempt to show you guys different plants. But when it comes to plants that I love, like, look at this. This is such a cool looking coleus Kong right here. I love that as well. Now, this one also can only take some sun, and then they have a bunch of these starter coleus. So this is another coleus Kong, and I can tell it's a coleus Kong because it has wider leaves and they look a little larger. But these 4-inch starters are only $1.99. So you don't have to buy the quartz coleus plants for $7.99. You can buy a starter one for $1.99, and you can get them to grow like that size within about a month, or maybe even less, because they're very fast growers. And look at just how there's just a sea of different types of colors. I love the look of this one right here. Look at that. That is a coleus Niagara Falls. So it's more of a trailing coleus. I am definitely going to buy this because I want to try to get one to be a bonsai. I'm going to actually plant it directly into bonsai. So what I'll do is I'll actually propagate it, and then when it roots, I'm just going to stick it into a bonsai pot and see if I can grow it. But you can see here another type of coleus right here, smaller foliage ones. And these are the ones I don't really have a lot of, but you can see I have all of these, every single one of them. This one right here, this is the coral candy. Mine is doing extremely well. I've got the other coleus royale right over here. Look at how beautiful the leaves are. Just absolutely stunning, and I just get so excited. And then that wasabi right there, and then we have some more coleus down here. These are for $1.99, and that's why, like, if you don't want to spend the money on plants, but you want some plants that will be easy to take care of, I would do that. And I'm definitely gonna buy this because this is a coleus rose wizard or something like that. Let me try to get it out. I'm having a little difficult time getting this. I don't know if we actually have the plant ID, but this is like the rose wizard. $1.99. I'm gonna buy this and put it in like a pink planter because it's got some pink leaves. This is one that would actually try to grow as like a tree form eventually indoors. And then you can see there's just more coleus plants. So really like the fact that I've been able to find it, and look at that. that is just insane how we have all these different coleus plants. And then right over here, here's another one. This is a red form. Let's see what this is. I'm thinking this is, yep, another mainstream coleus plant. This one I have as well, but notice how beautiful that is. And it would just be really interesting to like plant a bunch of these together or close by, let some bees pollinate their flowers and see what kind of like hybrids I could potentially get from the seeds, because that's really how you get these different varieties. And then this is another one that I'm definitely gonna buy, because I haven't seen this type of coleus where it's smaller form with the pink, and this isn't a 4-inch planter, which is more cost effective for me. So it's only $1.99. So if you're looking for a coleus, or just looking for a plant that's easy, that can be an indoor plant and definitely an outdoor plant, buy yourself a coleus plant. I'm going to keep repeating myself to just get everybody excited about it, but like you really should consider coleus plants. It's the same thing when I was talking about like aglaonemas, how many people don't really like aglaonemas. I just tend to talk about these plants that I'm really more interested in. Same thing with this right here. So this is a Fatsa japonica, or Japanese Aurelia. This is a true spider Japanese Aurelia. And then we've got the Japanese Aurelia camouflage. I have that one as well. And I'm gonna just quickly walk through and show you guys some Acer palmatum, or what I would call Japanese maples. For those that don't know, I love Japanese maples. I have a Japanese garden in the works in my backyard, and I'm not gonna go through each cultivar, but just know that Japanese maples is another passion of mine. I love collecting them. I get a lot of my Japanese maples from 2 sources, or actually 3. I buy them online from MrMaple.com. I met the Nichols brothers and they were amazing. And then I buy from Scott Hubble, which is he's the owner of Metro Maples, which is in Fort Worth, Texas. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, definitely go there. It is a Japanese maple paradise, alongside with a bunch of like rare Satsuki azaleas. But North Havens is also known to have a lot of beautiful Japanese maples. Like, look at this. It is absolutely stunning to be able to see all of these different types of cultivars. I love Japanese maples because they have a certain elegance about them. Now, with most Japanese maples, they need to have like shade. They don't really want to be out in full sun. They need protection from the hot afternoon sun. So any sun past like 2:30 or 3, it's not really good for them. Their leaves will burn. But as you can see, North Havens not only has an amazing indoor tropical section, but they have some beautiful outdoor garden, especially that whole table. Like, look at that. That is all coleus plants. And notice how it's just way more colorful than most of the other tables here. So plant foldies, let me know what you think about all of the plants that you've seen so far. I will be ending the video soon. I would recommend people buying plants at North Havens and supporting them, but you can see, I'm just gonna show you a couple more of these plants. Like, this is super cool here. These are the coral candy ones. And as always, plant foldies, please make sure you are hitting the like button for my videos, and you already know that I will give you another 1-hour plant shopping videos. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I hope you've enjoyed this local plant shopping video, and I will definitely see you on the next one. Bye.